Hey y'all, Leighton here. So today is Monday, April 13th, 2020. Yesterday was Resurrection Sunday. Praise God, the tomb is empty. Um, I just want to come to you guys this week to just share my experience from last week of how, just a couple things. I want to share how I have felt this week. I want to talk about something called keto flu that I got a touch of it. It wasn't as bad as some people can consider it, but I had a little bit of a keto flu. I want to talk about just my energy levels and also something that if most of you know me for a while now, you know that I have chronic migraines. So that's another thing I want to talk about as far as what this week has done with that. Um, I also want to go through the steps that I have taken to keep myself accountable because that's usually my downfall is I don't keep myself accountable. I have nothing to back me up when I'm like talking myself out of things. There's nothing there, nothing put in stone. So that's one thing that I did through this week. I did put some steps down for what's accountable, for what's keeping me accountable. I'm going to keep this video as short as possible because it is just a check-in video. I do want to say I have not forgotten about doing recipes. I am a mother of two little babies and a 2-year-old, and Zamira is going to be a year-old soon, and I have my hands full, needless to say. If any of you know my children, my 2-year-old definitely keeps you on your toes a lot. Um, with that being said, I do apologize. I had to make myself a checklist because I have mom brain, obviously. I'm on my second cup of coffee today, but I have mom brain and I'm constantly like, did I remember to say this? And I just want to make sure that I hit every note that I have. At the end of the video, I am going to put in like a note at the end that just states what my weight difference has been, where I started, where I am a week in, as well as I measured my waist. So I will do another measurement and implement it into the end of this video. I'm not going to say what they are, so if you want to see what the difference is, you'll have to wait till the end of the video. If there's anything that I haven't talked about in this video that you kind of have a question about, I would be more than happy to answer those questions. Just please leave a comment. And if you like my weekly update videos, hit subscribe, like my video, and I will continue to do every week. I will continue to just tell you what's going on, and I will be as honest as I possibly can about it. So I'm going to tell you, this week I have felt amazing. There's not really any words that I can put into it. The first day I felt normal, didn't really feel any better, any worse. It was the first day. It was less than 12 hours in. I will say my hunger on day one, just being very, let me just talk about my macros real quick before I go any further, because I know I'm going to forget, and I forgot to put that on my list, which is why I made a list, but it's okay. Sometimes that happens. So for my daily macros, I allow myself 50 net grams or 50 grams of net carbs. I do 40 grams of, or I'm sorry, I do 123 grams of fat and 98 grams of protein. My caloric intake for the day, I have taken down to 1,700 calories. Before anybody says anything, I did consult with my primary care about this, and I did talk to them about what's the safest amount of calories to do for me to have a successful weight loss. And she told me that 1,700 calories was perfectly fine, and that should be more than enough calories for me to continue providing my body the nutrients it needs, as well as being able to lose the weight that I need. So if you're going to do something like this and you're going to limit your carbs, your fats, your proteins, especially messing with your calories, my first tip would be to go talk to your doctor. Just tell them that, if your goal is to maintain your weight, I would just ask them, I'm trying to maintain my weight. I'm trying this keto out. I feel like this is good for anybody, no matter what you're doing. You just need to know how many calories you are allowing your body to have. So even if you're not into keto, please, please, please talk to your doctors first to find out, what your caloric intake for the day should be. Now, most days I do not make that 50 grams of net carbs. Most days I'm below it. There was one day, let me see. There was one day, I think it was on Wednesday. So it was on the day that I really was not feeling good. It was the only day that I struggled with anything, and I had given myself 64 grams of net carbs. That's not awful considering the fact that before I started any of this, I measured out my day and my carb intake was well above 200 grams of carbs a day. So, going over my carb intake by 14 grams for the day on my third day in, I'm not letting that get me down. I'm using that as an experience to track what I ate in that day and what I could have done without. What set me over that edge. So those are my macros. Today, 37 grams of net carbs between breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. Some days I have 2 or 3 snacks, but it's usually like a cheese stick, a boiled egg, and then after dinner I'll do, I made this super yummy keto cookie dough, which dark chocolate chips. I use the darkest chocolate I could find. I can't even tell you the percentage. It's above 90% dark chocolate. So it's okay to have minimal amounts on keto. So usually that's my one snack after dinner. And then I do one in between breakfast and lunch and one between lunch and dinner. So I try to separate it out. You do not want to allow yourself to get hungry. I have a bad habit of doing that. I have a bad habit of forgetting that I didn't have a snack and it's 2 o'clock and I'm hungry. I probably need to, that is one thing I could probably do better for myself. I need to step out and, write down, these are the times that I have eaten, this is what I've eaten, times like that. I have a log that, as you can see, I do keep a log of all of my macros, as well as I love this app. It keeps my weight log. It tells me how much I've lost within 30 days, 60 days, a year. I can track my water, my steps, all of my exercising. It gives you an in-depth of what your actual macros were versus what your goal macros were, which is amazing. And it also, I have it set up to where it automatically deducts the calories I burn through exercise out of my total calories for the day. Today I haven't exercised yet. I do plan to, but today I'm at 1,551 calories for the day. So I'm just under 200 calories below my allotted caloric intake. So I forget what I was saying. This is why I have a list. That was my macros information. Day one. I remember now, day one, I didn't really feel any different. Day two, I woke up at 4:45. I got up. I had fun with the kids. I did a bunch of exercises, strength training, things like that. Had my own alone time for about an hour before the kids woke up, which was amazing. I don't get very much time to just kind of lay back and relax without the kids being up, unless it's nap time. And usually at that point, I am cleaning house or doing laundry or getting stuff ready for dinner or, what say you. On day 3, I ran into what they call the keto flu. I would suggest, if you're going to do keto, to do all of the research that you possibly can before you start. Keto flu is definitely one of the things I would look into, because there was a day on Wednesday, my third day in, I had a pretty bad headache. I felt sluggish. I didn't want to wake up early. I didn't want to do anything. My body just was like, leave me alone. It was basically like having the flu, just without fevers or anything like that. I just didn't feel good. I just felt like I just want to kind of sit on the couch and relax and not worry about it. I didn't even know that keto flu was a thing until that day. On Wednesday, I did research on why am I feeling so bad. I'm like, this has got to be something to do with keto. Maybe I ate the wrong things. I don't know. So I did do my research and I found what's called keto flu. That's what was going on with me Wednesday. Wednesday, which was the day that I went over on my carbs, was just altogether not a great day for me. I didn't feel good. As you can tell, I ate kind of not awful, but I ate probably worse than I should have. And it just stunk. It was just a bummer. But I made it through. By Wednesday night, I was feeling fine, feeling normal, went to bed. No problems. With my headache on Wednesday, I do want to point out that if any of you know me, you know that I get migraines really bad. I've had them since I was a teenager. No medication works. I'm actually allergic to the best medication out there for it, and that just kind of stinks. But I know that part of my migraine issue is definitely playing in part with the fact that I am just not healthy in general. With that being said, this week, I usually get really, really, really bad migraines. Migraines to the point to where I can't open my eyes. I'm irritable. I don't want to talk to anybody. I can't stay awake. I can't even stand up, let alone sit up. I can't do anything. And it really just, it's crippling. That's how my migraines have been for about a year now, about a year and a half. Right before I had Zamira, they started getting kind of really hard on me and hard on my body. With that being said, I had a headache on Wednesday, but when I say headache, that means that it was nowhere near as bad as what I'm used to for a migraine. So yes, it bothered me, but it was nothing compared to what I'm used to almost on a daily basis every week before I started keto. It might just be a fluke. It might just be that, it's the first week, you're doing good, you're eating good, and that's that. You're going to feel fine. And then, maybe next week it'll catch up with me and I'll start having constant migraines again. I'm hoping that that's not the case, and I'm praying that's not the case. But I will say that that is a huge difference for me. I actually had a week where my energy levels were high. I wanted to get up early. I wanted to cook food for my family. I wanted to play with my children. I wanted to get myself together. Everybody knows if you're a mom, you do not have time to shower on a daily basis like you need to, and it's awful. I feel worse on the days that it's been a good 2 days since I've showered. I know that's probably TMI to some of you guys, but anybody who's a mom understands that you just cannot leave your children unattended, especially when you have 2 under the age of 2. You can't leave them unattended to go shower. And my husband's military, so he works all the time, and so it really is just me and the kids most of the time. So I usually have to wait until he comes home from work, which is around dinner time, to shower. So for me to want to get up early, spend that time taking care of myself, spend that time taking care of getting everything set for my family, it's huge for me. That's something that I've always wanted. I feel like a better parent this week. I know that everybody has their downfalls when it comes to parenting. Everybody does it different, but I have struggled. That's one of the things I've struggled with. I'm starting to get teary-eyed. I'm sorry. That's one of the things I've struggled with terribly, especially the last year since Zamira was born. Not because Zamira was born, but because I have 2 kids under the age of 2. It's stressful. It's hard. You don't have time for yourself. For me to be able to get up and want to take care of myself and be prepared for the day is huge for me, because I have never, ever felt that way. Well, that's a lie. I felt that way when Mordecai was first born. I was if you ask me, I was mom of the year. I was on top of everything. I knew everything. My kid didn't go anywhere without being 110% prepared. It changes when you have more than one baby. Let me just put it that way. So with that being said, this week has been a lot more, way more than I could ever imagine it being. Some steps that I have taken to keep myself accountable. The very first step I took was actually reaching out to you guys. So anybody who watches my videos, thank you so much, because the more of you that watch and the more you watch my videos, the more it makes me realize that I can do this, you know? So I'm videoing at least once a week. I would love to continue to do my recipes, and if you still have recipes you want me to try out that are keto friendly, please let me know. I will absolutely do it. And like I said, I'm not a seafood eater, but if you do seafood and you would like me to try a recipe, I can't try it. I will definitely make it for you. But my husband will be the taste tester, and I'm sure he would absolutely, if any of you know him, he is a foodie at heart. He will absolutely try anything. My second thing that I did was I emptied my entire house of junk food, except for the kids are not going to eat keto and clean, healthy diets. Mordecai's a very picky eater. He only eats maybe 4 or 5 things total out of the entire world of food. That's really all he will eat. So it's already a struggle just to get him to even eat during the day, just because he's so picky of an eater. So we got rid of all of the junk food and things like that from our house that, you know, pastas, things like that. I will say that I have done some research and it says that you're not supposed to keep your body in ketosis for a long time. It's not healthy for you. I've talked to my doctor about it. So she suggested that I do 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how I feel. Start off with 1 week of you can eat what you want, just stay within your calorie or your caloric intakes for the day. So I can have pasta as long as I'm staying within 1700 calories for the day. Things like that. She recommends that it would be, you know, 4 days on, 1 week, or 4 weeks on, 1 week off, and then go back in. It's definitely not healthy for you to keep your body in ketosis. If you do your research, I'm not going to go into it completely because, once again, I am not a professional. I just know what I've researched and what my doctor has told me. So I do have some foods that I kept. They're on a completely entire different shelf. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have 5 shelves in my pantry. So the very top shelf, the highest one up, that you really got to be searching for things if you want it up there. That is my shelf that I put the foods that I can't have until my 1 week from keto. So that has helped me a lot. That's one thing that in my mind, I know, don't even think about touching that stuff. Don't even go up there. It's not healthy for you. It's not going to fit into your caloric intake, nor is it going to fit into your carb intake. Don't even think about it. Don't even remember that it's up there. Just act like it's a blank space. So that has helped me. My third step that I took was I made a grocery list. I did research. I printed out a grocery list. I divided it by meats, produce, dairy, drinks, snacks, pantry items, spices, things like that. So I did a bunch of research on the foods that you can have in each section. It took me a couple of hours to do like a full out grocery list. But I have a basic grocery list that I will now, it's 2 pages long. I will now go by every time I go to get groceries. That's the list I will go by, and I will, it's kind of my template for what I need for that, for my grocery list. So if I, say there's shrimp on there, because I can, even though I don't do seafood, I do shrimp occasionally. So there's shrimp on there as a protein option, meat option. So if I'm out of shrimp and I decide that I want to do a recipe with shrimp, or I just want to saute some shrimp with some coconut oil or something, I will put shrimp on my list, and I know that that's allowed. So I just did a basic template of groceries that divided by each section, a type of food. So that way when I'm making my grocery list every 2 weeks, I can look at it and I can go, okay, we can have any of these meats. Let me check to see how we are on these meats. Okay, I'm out of chicken, or I need more ground turkey, or I need more beef. Um, you know, there's a lot to go into it, but if you do your research, you'll have no issues. My last step that I did was I asked Abram, my husband, to join me. He is not going to have the same calorie intake as me. He's not going to have the same carb, fat, or protein intake as me. He's a guy. He works a lot. He burns a lot of fat. He works out a lot. He's going to need different. Everybody is different. And that's what I would say. Do your research on what you think is going to work best for your body. There is no way that I would have been able to take it straight down to 20 grams of carbs the first day. I tried that and I failed miserably. That was the day that I was like, no, I've got to stick around 50. If I get less than 50, that's amazing. If I don't get less than 50, I'm at 50 at least. No more than that, I won't allow it. So I do appreciate and am thankful for my husband, and for God blessing me with my husband who is willing to do this. He loves his breads and pastas. He's a huge fan of sandwiches, especially for work. They're just really easy to eat and make. So I do really appreciate him doing that for me. It looks like this is it for my video. Like I said, please leave a comment below if you have any questions. I will definitely answer them. Give this video a like if you think that it was helpful, or if you enjoyed it at least. And I will insert a slide with my beginning weight, my end weight, as far as this week goes, my beginning waist in inches and what it is now. And I will see y'all next week. God bless.